Welcome to The Explainer. All right, let's jump right in. Today, we're tackling a big topic in the software world, behavior-driven development. So when you hear that term BDD, or behavior-driven development, what's the first thing that pops into your head? For a lot of folks, it's all about specific tools, right? Or maybe some super complicated testing framework. But what if I told you that's not even half the story? Yeah, a ton of people hear BDD and they immediately think of tools like Cucumber or SpecFlow. And look, that's kind of like saying driving is all about the gear stick. I mean, sure, it's a part of the car, it's a tool you use, but it's not driving, is it? The real idea behind BDD is so much bigger than any single tool. Okay, so to really get what BDD is all about, we first have to talk about what it's not. See, it's not really about testing, it's about communication. And to understand that, we've got to go back a bit to a problem that came up with another three-letter acronym, TDD. So BDD actually grew out of something called test-driven development, or TDD. Now, TDD is this really cool practice where developers write an automated test before they even write the code. The test fails, obviously, that's the red part. Then they write just enough code to make it pass, that's green. It's a whole cycle. But here's the thing, as TDD got more popular, a lot of teams started, using it wrong. They got obsessed with chasing this metric, this idea of 100% code coverage, and they totally lost sight of the real goal. TDD was never about coverage. It was about getting quick feedback to improve the actual design of the software. And that's where BDD comes in, that communication gap, that focus on the wrong thing. That is the problem BDD was created to solve. It's all about shifting the focus from the nitty-gritty implementation details to the actual intent. It's about changing the conversation. So what's the big idea? It's actually pretty simple. BDD says, stop talking about how your software works on the inside. Stop getting bogged down in the technical weeds. Instead, let's talk about what it actually does for the user. What is the behavior we want to see? Let me show you what I mean. Take a look at this. This is a pretty standard test, written in that traditional TDD style. Honestly, if you're not a developer, this is probably just gibberish, right? You've got WebDriver, FindElement, XPath. It's all about the technical how. Now, look at this, and get this. This is the exact same test, but now it's written from a behavioral point of view. A librarian searches for a book. They assert the book is in the results. See? Anyone can understand that. A project manager, a designer, your boss, anyone. It describes the what, not the how. And that clarity, that shift in language, is absolutely crucial. It's not just about making things look nice and readable. It's about building something called a ubiquitous language for the entire team. So what's a ubiquitous language? It's just a fancy way of saying a common, shared language that everyone, and I mean everyone, from developers to business experts, uses to talk about the project. It's the bridge that connects what the business wants with what the developers are building. No more getting lost in translation. Okay, so this all sounds great in theory, but how does it actually work? What does a team do? Well, BDD isn't just a mindset. It's a whole process, a collaborative cycle with 3 key steps: discovery, formulation, and automation. It usually kicks off with something called a 3 amigos meeting. And no, it's not a Western. It's a meeting where you get 3 key perspectives in a room. Someone from the business side who knows what the problem is, a developer who knows how to build a solution, and a tester who's great at asking what if and finding the tricky edge cases. Together, they hash out the details. And the stuff they talk about, it gets written down, not in complicated documents, but in a super simple format using just 3 words: given, when, and then. Given some starting situation, when a user does something, then this is what should happen. It's so straightforward, literally anyone on the team can read it and know exactly what's going on. Now here's the magic part. Because that given, when, then format is so structured, you can hook it up to automation code. Those plain English sentences, they become tests. Your requirements literally become a specification that runs and checks the software. It's what we call living documentation, because it can't ever get out of date. So, why does all this matter? What's the big payoff? Well, when you work this way, it has a huge impact on how you build software. It's a total game changer, really. Think about this. Because everyone is talking and getting on the same page before a single line of code gets written, you catch problems way, way earlier. And look at this chart. Finding a bug during the requirements phase is cheap to fix. Finding that same bug after the software is released, it can cost you up to 100 times more. BDD saves an incredible amount of time and money. And hey, this isn't some new, untested fad. BDD has been around, and it's only getting more popular. In fact, a recent study showed a huge spike in research and articles about it between 2016 and 2021. It's a proven practice that's gaining more and more traction. So it all comes down to this one simple question. Is your team spending its time talking about how the code works? Or are you talking about what your users actually need it to do? That shift, that's the heart of BDD. It's about making sure you build the right software together. And that's a question worth asking.